It
Right.
wasn't.
So Agatha, what's her name? Harkness?
That was Agnes.
That's Agnes was the name that she was given by supposedly Wanda thought that she gave her the name Agnes.
Okay.
That was like the character she was playing.
Okay.
So then Agatha Harkness, she is like one of the original witches from the Salem witch trials.
Okay.
Right. So in this last episode, they actually showed, back in Salem, how they had this little cult of witches for real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like they were whatever. They tried to like execute her, but did you watch that? You watched that whole
Yeah, I watched the episode. They seemed that they were like good witches.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, but yeah, so she's this ancient witch, man, who now it seems is jealous of Wanda because
Power, yeah,
all of her power she has.
Yeah.
And I hadn't even realized that before this last episode, they had never mentioned her as Scarlet Witch in any of the MCU movies previously, man.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah, I knew that.
So, but yeah, what do you know about the Salem witch trials, man?
I don't know a ton. I know there were some girls that were supposedly under some spell from the servant of some businessman, and then
is that her name? Tituba? Am I messing up now? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's her name. And then that the courts there would allow, oh my God, what was the spectral evidence, which means the girls could go into like a hysterical fit in the court and say that, this person is has me under a spell currently right now, kind of thing. And that was considered evidence, even if no one else could see it. Just the act of the girl saying it, people believed it. Right. And then if someone accused you of being a witch, as long as you accused the next person of being a witch, you weren't hung. But if you were like, no, I'm not a witch, I don't know anybody that's a witch, that was it for you.
Yeah.
So
I used to have a little sheet of thing. I don't even know if it's true, man. To have a little sheet of things of what like they used to do to test if you were a witch back then.
Like throw you in the water, and if you float,
they would like tie rocks to your feet.
Yeah.
And they'd throw you in the water, and if you floated, you were a witch.
Yep.
But if you died, you weren't. You know what I mean? Like that's real. Yeah. Or they used to put like babies. There was like this ritual of passing a baby through a tree. So there'd be a tree in the town, and they would like cut a hole in it, and if a baby could fit through the hole of this tree, then it wasn't a witch. But if it was a little chubby, little plump baby that couldn't fit through the hole, yeah, man, it'd be a witch.
That's weird.
Isn't that crazy?
That's
going back to Wanda, man. Tell me something else, man.
I just want to know how many of the people in the town are alive or dead.
What makes you think some of them are dead?
Just because two of the characters that are there are dead. So I'm wondering how many of the people in the town are dead.
Who are the two people who are dead?
Her brother. Right. And then here's the other thing. I need you to think about this. Hang on. So Vision and her brother. Now, something to think about. You realize that her brother is not the same actor.
Right. He's the Quicksilver from the X-Men movies.
So I was having a conversation with a friend the other day about, are they about to introduce a multiverse?
I think what's about to happen, I think they're about to introduce the whole mutant idea so they can introduce the X-Men. Because Wanda, you see in Wanda's story, because they give you a little bit of background in that last episode, that she was actually born with those powers, right? And the way you know that is because when that bomb didn't blow up in her house and they sat there for 2 days, she was keeping that. She did some kind of probability. So I can't even remember what they said in the show. Some kind of probability thing.
Hex. Probability hex.
A probability hex that kept it from going off.
Yep.
So she was born with those powers. And you've never seen up until this point any of our people, like, think about all the superheroes we have. Something happened to them during their life. That's why they're now Spider-Man. That's why they're now the Hulk. That's why they're now, Captain America or whatever it may be. But the mutant idea is, I think that's the big reveal from this show, is that now they can bring in the X-Men because Quicksilver came from that universe. So now you're talking that whole multiverse. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to see X-Men versus Avengers, man.
Yeah. That'll be really interesting because I grew up as an X-Men fan. Like,
oh yeah, me too.
Avengers weren't my thing.
Right.
The X-Men were like, I want them to do the correct version of Age of Apocalypse.
But that's what I'm saying now. So since Pietro, that's his name, right?
Yep.
Since he is the original actor from the X-Men universe, are they going to use all Logan and all them? Are they going to use what's his name?
This is where it becomes really complicated because what we have to look at is the licensing. Because Marvel at one point was selling off portions of their branding to like Sony. So Sony, I believe it's Sony that does the X-Men, or Fox or something. I think it's Sony.
I think it's Fox.
It might
Fox.
Be.
I think I remember reading Fox.
But like, so different studios own like different characters, and Marvel doesn't actually own the rights to them. But now that Disney has bought Marvel and owns some other things, Disney is able to do all this stuff with it now. Because I think Disney actually does Disney own Fox? I don't know.
So we'd have
to go dig through all that.
Yeah. Going back to the original question though, with Pietro, right? You said 2 dead people. So Pietro, that brings up an interesting question, right? Did Wanda make him up? No, they said that Agatha introduced him.
She said that you don't want to see him die a second time or something like that. I forget what the exact quote.
Right.
But you see him die again, and it was like, oh, are they gonna introduce a multiverse where her brother didn't die? And so, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's going to be interesting. But the other person who's dead is who?
Vision.
Well, this is what I thought about. Remember when they showed Wanda when she was being experimented on, and they had Loki's staff and whatever, and she touched it, and then all of a sudden you saw the Mind Stone, right? I think that put an imprint on the Mind Stone. Somehow she and the Mind Stone are connected. So then once the Mind Stone went into Vision, somehow connected Wanda and Vision to each other. That's why they're so close to each other. And I think what happened when you saw how Vision was created, I think she literally manifested him. I think she manifested him somehow, some way through that Mind Stone connection, right? Because all these Infinity Stones, they're very powerful. Who knows what they can do, right? But I think somehow she manifested Vision because of that link. Like somehow, some way, she had like the Mind Stone still part of her. I think that's how she's so powerful. I think that's why she is the Scarlet Witch. Is because she is like the Mind Stone is in her somehow, and she literally made manifest Vision. So I don't think he's dead. I think he's a new Vision.
No, because you didn't see where at one point in the show it's just a flash where they show him and he's missing his whole forehead.
I know.
That's why I think he's dead. Like I think there's gonna be more dead people.
I think he was dead, right? Because we saw that he had the Mind Stone ripped out of his head or whatever it was. and like he was in different pieces. But what we were led to believe previously is that she went in and gathered up all the pieces and then like rebuilt him, but that's not what happened. She went in there and then she just walked out. Did you watch the last episode?
Mm-hmm.